Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome to Fine, I'll Watch It. I am Smoking Phat J.
I am Matt Christy.
Yeah.
We know what kind of mood you're in today.
We are here to review the first 2 episodes of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, the newest animated Marvel animation series on Disney Plus. So make sure that you like, subscribe, and ring the bell and do all that stuff to keep up with this and all the rest of our shenanigans, our nerd shenanigans right here.
Hey, if you watch our show regularly, here's today's poll real quickly. Who do you think didn't watch all the episodes?
Right.
and what you consider Craven's Hunter to be.
Yes. Which the one comment on our Craven video was, I actually liked this movie. That was the one comment we got after we shat just vehemently.
The movie shat over itself.
Yeah, well, we helped. I didn't really know. I kind of stayed away and just kind of went in fresh to it myself. So I didn't have a lot of expectations one way or another of what it was going to be.
It was, for me, it was one of those things that I wasn't really following, but I had heard in the background it was coming, things about it and everything like that, and I got it more into the backstory of it when it finally, after we watched the episode and everything like that. But
yeah, because this started when this
5
was
years
announced.
ago. 4 or 5
a long
years
time
ago.
ago. It was supposed to be Spider-Man freshman year,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
And then they changed it.
Yeah, which I mean, go ahead with your comment first, James, on it. But there's a very specific reason why they changed it. So, your thoughts going into it? Yeah, yeah. What? Enough.
They let children rent that movie at the stores, guys.
They let children rent anything in video stores.
Yeah. Oh, they're like, oh, you mean the internet? They don't care.
Yeah, pre-internet, we had to make our own entertainment.
Yeah.
It's like today, but we had to film it, edit it, put it on a VHS, and then try to sell it to you in some manner. Not instant. Yeah. Not instantaneously.
How about you, Matt?
So I enjoyed this. I'm going to be the only one who really enjoyed this. From the 3 of us, give a spoiler warning right down there on that. So here's the thing, and I understand what the problem is and why there is a bunch of disconnect for some of the people and everything else like that, other than just the individual voice actor for Spider-Man himself. So this was, as was said, supposed to
about is that it wasn't woke,
Yep.
or whatever.
Yes.
And so, like, a bunch of people online got pissed off. Here's a fun fact. Sure, woke. Oh, be scared. Here comes the woke. Run away. I want you to hide in your fucking houses. But here's the thing. Wouldn't you want it to be good? Like, wouldn't that be like just let's remove all politics? Wouldn't you like? My biggest hope is that I don't look like a complete pile of shit in a shitty project.
So,
Like, one would hope.
So the voice actor, I'm not bothering with his name right now, is the same one who did Peter Parker Spider-Man's voice in the What If episode for the zombie that's interested in zombies, which comes out later.
Okay.
Which comes out later this year. So he's already been that. So to kind of recast over to this. This was originally intended to be a lead-in to Homecoming for the MCU.
No.
So the stories and everything like that were supposed to be related to him, and that's what they started working on. And they reached a point where they're like, you know what, we feel too constrained by what we are allowed to do because we do still have to fit it into this mold of the MCU. We can't break canon or storyline or anything like that. So then they decided to go back as much as they could because they still had to get out at some point in time and rework a lot of it. So now it's not within the 616 universe anymore. It's now a completely separate universe. So they took a bunch of characters and reworked them and put them into this new series. But you can tell the things they still kept over from the original idea, such as Peter Parker being more related to the Tom Holland Peter Parker. You didn't see the scene, James, but the scene at the end of episode 1 when they introduced Norman Osborn is basically a hand-drawn version of the Civil War scene where Peter comes home and Tony Stark is there with Aunt May talking to him about wanting to have him join on as an intern and everything like that.
Yeah, so it's Harry Osborn instead of, or it's, Norman Osborn instead of.
Okay, as being that would make sense to use that character there.
Yeah, so it's a mixture of the two as opposed to being just a fully original thing. Which I mean, I guess on multiverse rules you could say, yeah, well, some of these things probably would play out similarly and everything like that with these different characters and everything like that. But the only thing that, like I said, I think brings it out is the fact that it is not wholly original. I mean, yes, you got to use characters like that from the Spider-Man universe, not just make up whole cloth characters and everything like that. So, but
first off, a wholly original. It's a comic book character based on another. It's like Miles Morales. It's not wholly original. These are not wholly original characters. Yeah.
Well, I just mean the entire plot and everything around it. There's certain else we have, but like I said, they pulled more in from the MCU for what they originally had in their original draft and everything like that to put out what they have right now.
So I initially started watching this and turned it off, kind of like James did. I was like, oh, you know what I mean? There was some cringy stuff. There was some stuff.
Always watch my balls aging. Can always watch my balls aging.
Well, yeah, we do have that 24/7 live stream of James's balls.
Absolutely,
aging.
we're trying to get that going. It says same cinematographer as Dune 2.
All shot on iPhone, which is all the rage nowadays.
It is. It's like
up in the corner there.
Right. It's like Birdman, just more balls. So that's not me. That's the ghost of Gene Siskel reviewed at that. So
I gave it another shot. So initially, what got to me is I actually liked the art style. I thought it was. I liked the Peter Parker. I thought it did feel very comic booky. I could tell that it was a more cheaply done art style, and maybe that leads to how much they had to do to kind of come up with shit quickly. You know what I mean?
We got to release this.
They animated the whole fucking thing first and had to redo it. But it seems like they had plenty of time. I mean, I could see what they were doing. The Peter Parker is very original. You know, they were trying to take it right off of the page of the comics there. In some aspects.
I would argue Steve Ditko's stuff and definitely, and I don't even like fucking Jack Kirby stuff, but their stuff would be more dynamic than how this looked. There's if I animated those old comics, they would look more interesting than these did. That's just my
disagree with you.
own
I
thought.
don't think that they
Yeah.
nailed it. I could see what they were
Yeah.
going for.
But
I like
Archie.
the
It felt more
idea.
like Veronica and Betty. It felt like more sterilized, not really comic
Well, that
booky.
goes
Yeah.
to it is it was there was some very forced things. And look, I don't give a fuck about changing the gender of most characters. You know what I mean? I don't. I don't give a fuck about
Make it interesting.
making someone a different race or something like that. But it did feel
Yeah,
like they
people-
were like, hey, let's find the diverse characters and fit them into Spider-Man storyline more.
Yeah.
Like you got Nico showing up all of a sudden. I don't see a Mary Jane. I don't see a Flash. I don't see any of his original people, nor even some of the ones like we don't see a Ned or anything either. You know, like we're using other characters in the Marvel Universe, which I think is interesting, but we're kind of fitting them into these other roles, which it felt forced because you were kind of finding a diverse character to fit in that role rather than finding just someone who would more naturally fit into that role. Is the way that I felt. And so that felt a little bit forced for me. That being said, I think that the characters are interesting. You know what I mean? I think that it did set up a lot of interesting things. You missed it, but later on, you get an Amadeus Chow. You get Asha, I think her name is.
Yeah.
You know, these are other characters in the Marvel universe. You kind of created this interesting thing. Here's my problem. It's not a kids show, but they're using the tropes of it being a kids show. I felt like I was watching Spidey and his buddies, the one that's very much made for 8-year-olds.
Spider-Man.
I did. I felt like that, but they weren't trying to make that show. You know what I mean? They're saying hell and they're showing the word ass, and you know, like they're trying to make it a more adult or teen adult maybe show, but they're using the tropes from the very kiddie shows, and it felt that way. I think that towards the end of the second episode, they were doing enough interesting things that I will probably watch this, but I probably will just wait for it to all be done, and then I'll just slam it. You know what I mean?
This isn't going to be like the rest of it, because this is going to be done before Daredevil goes up.
Okay.
They're purposely releasing 2 or 3 episodes a week to get through this series, so it doesn't run over into Daredevil.
Well, we're supposed to have a
Daredevil I'm excited about. Daredevil I want to watch. There you go. Let's watch Daredevil.
Oh, no, and that's
one Daredevil, please.
Yeah, definitely.
My 7-year-old watched through both episodes, and my 7-year-old who is partially on the spectrum doesn't necessarily watch through shows, and he watched through both episodes and enjoyed both episodes. So whatever was going on, whether it be visually or being certain things in the story that interested him, whatever, it worked for him. So I'm not trying to argue necessarily your point about certain things that brought in everything like that.
I want to say though that you know, I was shitting on a lot of things, but let me say a few things. I love the concept of the suit and the look of the suit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It very much feels like that Peter Parker built that suit. You know what I mean? And that it's the prototype. I like that it has the canister, the different webbing type of a thing. I like his Spider-Man. I like the fighting that he does as Spider-Man. That Doctor Strange and whatever the Venom type thing fight, that is a very cool fucking fight. You know what I mean? Like they have some cool stuff going on in this. And there are some cool visuals, so I can see that. You know what I mean? And I think that, they did have it paced pretty well. You know what I mean? But when he's talking to anybody, I pretty much hated it. Unless he's quipping while he's fighting as Spider-Man, pretty much all the rest of the dialogue, I thought, just felt not good.
But it's also a younger Peter Parker.
What
it would be 13 in this?
But it's like,
Yeah.
but man, like that was the first 8 minutes kind of wrecked me a little bit because it was like, man, Stan Lee is the hackiest writer ever, and you guys are making him be Shakespeare with how you fuck up his basic bitch writing, which is he didn't get, he was never cocky, he was always nerdy, he always disappeared in the background. He didn't get anything until when he gets the powers, he starts to get some like, hey, I can do this, I can go out and do this, and he has the ability to save Uncle Ben, and he doesn't. And it's that kind of drives him going the way that he does. And it's like, you guys just not having that.
Only when he's Spider-Man. And I do feel that. And it was one of my issues that I had with the Andrew Garfield.
He's just like cocky school kid, and I was like, I get that.
He's a little too cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He needs to be
but that's
more
what
dorky, more
that's what sells now. So like that's what they're trying to do. And it's just like you just don't understand the character enough to be doing a show on it. So I don't know why the fuck I'm watching a show by people who don't know what the fuck they're doing. So that was my 8 minutes. And then I was like, you remember those fucking collage snuff videos we used to watch? I spent my afternoon thinking about that, which I would argue might be a little better than the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. But
right?
yeah. You know what? And it's like, as far as the diversity thing goes, I would say, like, I haven't seen the show because I gave up, but you know who did it really well, and I didn't like the animation either, was Into the Spider-Verse. The reveal of female Doc Ock in the first one blew me away. And I hate Miles Morales. I hate that animation style, but like, if you're talking about like, oh, we're going to gender swap or we're going to do this or anything else, if you're going to try that, man, that was like a masterclass in how to do that. When she reveals that she's Doc Ock, it's like a moment in the movie. It's a great moment. And so I think there is a smart way to do that. I haven't seen this, and but this being woke again is the least of its worries. The animation style looks, for me, it looked too much like I was watching Archie and his friends.
Say one thing though, about the one of the swaps, which is Norman Osborn being black. The only thing that makes that weird haircut fucking work is you put it on a black man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The only way, like that's the only way it makes sense. Finally, you fixed it.
You want to grab Steve Ditko and go like, who is this based on? Like, he drew Norman and fucking God and Harry with that shit. And it was like, who is it? What is this hairstyle? I like it's still to this day I don't understand. There you go. It must be white. If they grew it out, it'd be dreads. Yep. So that's what it looked like. Yeah.
I had no problem with any of the choices they made for characters and everything like that. I personally didn't feel like they were trying to push certain diversity things for diversity's sake or anything like that. I think part of the problem with the thought process and all that is that these are characters you know from storylines, from the Spider-Man universe, the Spider-Man universe that we're used to and everything like that. And we know that they're characters who do or eventually do have powers or something like that. But as of right now, they don't. And if they choose not to go down the path of giving them powers, that may make the characters more endearing and better and everything like that.
Oh, I think that's a waste, though. Like, they have to do...
Lincoln is going to become Tombstone.
Okay, and Nico's going to become Nico. Like, they all need to become who they're going to become. Like, why use them otherwise? Like, that is a terrible idea. If you just don't, like, you know, that's one of the mistakes that I believe that, like, so many of these types of shows have done before. Oh, let's put this person because they're going to be this person later, but we won't ever do that in this fucking show. Like, that's a terrible, terrible idea.
I will say the last animated thing we got out of Disney Plus on the Marvel front, I know What If, but X-Men 97 knocked it out of the fucking park like almost every time. They even Dan Schneidered us in that episode, but it was still pretty good. I think like X-Men 97, the animation was amazing. The storytelling was it didn't talk down to you. It didn't try to reinvent the wheel. It kept the characters as the characters are. Didn't have to like change or force a bunch of things because they thought this would be a better way to sell it. So I don't know. It's like I would want to see more in that sort of vein. It's interesting hearing that this might have started as one project and then got shifted to another, because like from the get go, it felt like I didn't know why I was watching this.
Like I said, we'll see how the Jared
Correct?
and I will see it. Go ahead.
No?
Jared and I will see how the first
Okay.
how the first season ends, and we can do a review wrap up right before Daredevil if we need to or whatever. But I said I'm happy with the fact that they're keeping it low key right now. That 6 months out from getting his powers, he's more trying to do lower level stuff to try to help people and everything like that, which is what a lot of Spider-Man is about. And we're not immediately throwing in a bunch of super-powered villains and everything like that, which is nice to see, to keep it at this level. How soon they change that and everything that we'll see.
Yeah, because the reveal at the end of the second episode, I have some theories on that for sure.
True. So the second episode introduces either a Shocker replacement character, or a character that exists is a very
Firefly ripoff.
very, very low level. No, his name's Butane. Character's called Butane. Butane exists as a character within the Spider-Man universe, but he is so F tier villain that it's like. But it's not James Gunn pulling from it. Like I said, it seems like he is a mixture between Shocker and Firefly for what he is, but still is just a person using this specialized suit made by another corporation, which is going to be one of the central mysteries for this. Probably Roxxon, yeah. The central mysteries for this series, but his purpose in it is that he was hired by somebody to go build down buildings in a... let's call it, if LA was a real estate scheme right now, we're burning down properties to devalue them so somebody can come in and buy them up and rebuild in their own particular way.
If.
We're talking about Oprah. So look out, LA. Oprah's in the hills. Oprah's going to buy all that. Talk to Hawaii.
Well, I have a feeling that's Kingpin, and that might be one of the reasons why because Kingpin and Daredevil are supposed to show up in this.
So now we're talking about some diversity casting. Oprah's Kingpin. That would be badass. She's like, she's got her king. Here's one of my favorite Spider-Man.
West Coast Avengers.
Hey, we had a black Kingpin already. Yeah. we already had a black Kingpin, if we remember.
Ving Rhames, you're wonderful. The movie's terrible, and your performance not great, but you're nice. So
you were big.
So for right now, they're keeping it low key. They're introducing people that if they do or don't get powers later on, or do or don't turn into their alternate forms later on.
I mean, that's what it feels like, though. See, that's where I say it feels so much like, that little science club group that they have. Mm-hmm. That is their Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends team that shows up later. Like it felt very much like one of those very kiddie shows where you're just setting them up, and I feel like it's even if it does go a little too tropey, it's such a miss to not let him turn into fucking a version of the Hulk. You know what I mean? Let these things happen.
Amadeus Cho is one of his science buddy friends.
Yeah, Amadeus Cho is the totally awesome Hulk. In case you missed it, it's a version of the Hulk that could control his powers.
You guys keep bringing up Spider-Man and his friends. A shout out to Coach Tony Valini. Had the greatest line one day at Stockdale High back when we were in high school. We decided to watch some at the comic book club. It's like, oh my God, Spider-Man is Amazing Friends. I loved this as a kid. And as soon as they turned the knob, he was like, wait, they're renting this place. Does the landlady know that they've got like a complete like Bruce Wayne owned Wayne Manor? There is no way Peter Parker and the Iceman, who still hadn't come out to his parents, so he had to go fucking rent an apartment, and then Firestar, who might have been homeless, had any money whatsoever. So they were like renting that place,
and they had like they never have enough money to pay their rent, but they have the money for state-of-the-art technological equipment in their rental apartment. That being said,
Yeah, exactly.
I have went back and watched, and some of the best storylines like pulled straight from the comics and condensed down into that little show.
Yeah.
I think it's totally worth the rewatch. You know, I mean, Spider-Man gets made an official X-Men in that
Yeah, true.
for
Yep.
stopping the Juggernaut while they're at an X-Men party
Yeah.
he wasn't invited to because they're racist against non-mutants. So yeah.
Back in the 80s, they were a wonderful time.
It was good times. It was good times.
80s and 90s.
Oh,
80s and
man.
90s. One
He's
other-
all mutate, not mutant. Go fuck yourself, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
The one other thing I'll say that I enjoy about this series so far is that they are focusing on the other characters in parts of the story. So it's
You mean the long walk like a music video showing how they keep the black man down?
whatever. Whatever.
I mean, what was that one fucking The Lonely Stoner seems as like I felt like I was watching that fucking video.
That's fine, but I mean, it at least shows another character, and it's focusing more on the characters a lot than you would see in a lot of animated shows where it just focuses on we're doing the Spider-Man stuff. Here's the Peter Parker stuff. Here's the Spider-Man stuff. We got to focus more on Spider stuff. But they're building up the characters more so that when something does happen to them later on, it's more meaningful.
Yeah, but that's where it's weird to have that dynamic of feeling such like a kid show in a way, but then in those spaces, obviously not being that. It's kind of like it feels bipolar. You know what I mean? In a way, you know what I mean? It feels like I just don't exactly know what it's supposed to be. You know, I feel like again, it's laying groundwork for some really good ideas, but I don't think that it's executing it in a mature enough way throughout, or a consistently mature way, I guess would be what it is. Because you know, it feels like they're throwing in. I don't know. I know he's supposed to be 13, and people are supposed to be 13 in this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I don't know.
13,
He looks like he's dressed from the 1940s too. You know, so it's hard to tell that he's 13 or anyone's 13 in this show. Or how old anybody is.
13 to 17 is the age range.
Yeah, you know, but that's what I mean is like him and Lonnie, other than him saying, "Oh well, I'm a freshman," blah blah blah, like whatever, they could be the same age. You know what I mean? Like I'm not. It's kind of hard to track that. You know what I mean? Very well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I was just, you know, I'll watch more of it. I'm not. I'm sold on at least continuing to watch it, but again, it might be something that I just kind of, you know. Luckily, it is coming out in bursts.
So,
you know, maybe I will watch it.
By the end of it'll be done by the end of February. So
Yeah. So,
All
but
right.
just kind of for me. So, anything else we should talk about, or should we just rate this and talk about what we're going to do next week?
rate this and try to figure out what we're going to do next week.
Yeah.
There was a couple other things. Geeky, that popped up this week. We got some new trailers that everybody's talking about.
Yeah. Let's rate this then, and let's just talk some shop,
Okay.
and then tell the audience what we're going to do next week.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
It's out of 5, and then I'm going to show you guys what it is first.
James isn't even giving this a 2, so it's okay. Oh God, James was never reformatted.
Yeah.
It's when that big-headed salesman comes through the door on Pee-wee.
Yeah. I'm going door to door to tell you about an amazing offer.
James's eyes are so intense, huge like
I
that.
know.
Oh God. Whoa.
Yeah, there you go. That's
Hey, there's a normal size James right there.
normal size James, still slightly bigger head than both of us. That's
Yes.
how it works.
Yeah, but
Yay!
if I put you like the same size.
Well,
I know how it works.
All right, I'll give it my standard 2 out of 5
Wow.
because I hated it. So I'll give it 2.
Two.
So that's
Dude,
fair.
It's okay.
No,
we can
we're
see
just going. We're just going.
Two
Yeah,
out of
yeah,
five.
2 out of 5.
Yeah.
You could put them up half at a time. 2 out of 5. Perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's the James Cope perfection score.
This is medium quality Marvel right here. 2
God,
out
I
of
hated
5.
this. The worst show ever. 2 out of 5.
Horrible. 2 out of 5. I'd like future generations to know because I'm looking beyond myself. Thank you very much. Wish all reviewers could do such a thing.
Hey, there we go.
Having said
Team
that-
Amazing Spider-Man.
He was drawing that guy.
Mm-hmm. We good? We ready?
All right, there we go. 2 out of
2
5
out of
for
5
James.
No
How about
notes.
No notes.
Fair enough.
2 out of 5. No
All
notes.
right, how about you?
Just because.
Jay's got that. I'm going 4. Like I said, I enjoyed this a lot. I understand what problems exist for the first 2 episodes. I wasn't turned off by the art style. I almost wish they did more of using the comic panels to do certain actions and transitions and everything else. Like, oh my god, to do certain transitions and action sequences and everything like that, because I enjoyed that in that strange symbiote fight. Is going having the different comic panels pop up and everything like that, because that's definitely not something I enjoyed in the movie Hulk.
No.
That was a bad.
Oh man,
That was a bad use of comic panels.
it was a bad use in Creepshow. It was a bad use almost every time they do it. It's really hard to do. It was a little better in this than it was in those, but it's still hard. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
It
Like
works in animation, but it rarely works in live action.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go.
our greatest perverts have tried.
I'm gonna go 2.5, right in the middle, because I don't know if I love. I honestly, I don't know if I like it or I don't like it. It's not even love it or hate it. You know what I mean? I'm not. I'm willing to watch more,
Kid Spider-Man.
but that's about it. There you go. I
Kid
do like
Spider-Man was
that
already for kids, motherfucker. Like Star Wars was already for kids, motherfucker. We don't need to dumb down this shit anymore. Like
So,
Kraven the Hunter blew his brains out in a comic for children. In a Spider-Man comic that I read at like 8 or 9, like wow, bad Tuesday for Kraven.
Come on now.
So,
That was the time when
comic
everything
code,
was trying to be
comic code
edgy.
of seal of approval.
It's got the seal of approval on it. It has it on that issue. Like it's all Marvel comics were approved by the comic code. So it's like I don't know. I don't think we need to go childish for stuff. I don't think we need to go kids Star Wars. I think Luke Skywalker is. If you are 5, you. I've never met a kid who didn't want to be Luke, Han, Leia, or Chewie, or one of the goddamn droids. Like, and so they were not kids; they were just these archetype characters that I think were so easy for us to identify with. Luke wanted more. Han's too cool for school. Leia's a badass. Pick a lane. You know, it's like I don't think we have to go into. Making it kids so that the kids have something to relate to. It's like there's already. I think it's simplistic enough that none of us, nobody watching this that was of age when Star Wars Empire Jedi came out, that felt like, oh, I don't understand what's going on, you know, because it was made for our age group, and so the compliment we give it, I think, Star Wars, is that we watch it at 30, we watch it at 40, and go like, God, there's still quality to these pieces of media. So I don't know, yeah. And I'm a hater. I hated the animation. I hated the animation in Spider-Man Spider-Verse.
This is why he made
And like that's
$0 salary on this show. He was hired.
There you go.
Designated.
There you go, right there.
Well, real quickly.
Cheers to that.
Real quickly before we talk about other things, since Jay and I watched through, we'll tell you real quickly about the end of the episode 2, and we'll talk about what could or couldn't happen going forward.
Let's do that.
So then episode 2 ends with Peter doing his Spider-Man mix. I got to do 5 things at one time thing, and can't keep his life together, whatnot. So he's with internship with Osgore, and he shows back up late from his first day of internship because he had to go take care of this situation. He gets called up to Norman's office, and he does a slow walk, feeling like he's let him down, that he's going to get released from the internship and everything like that. And then Norman reveals that he knows he's Spider-Man. And why does he reveal that he knows he's Spider-Man? Because Peter decided to change into his suit in a stairwell inside Oscorp.
All right.
So logically, the cameras that are in there, he reviewed him and saw him change into Spider-Man. So
And it was a very
I'm actually okay.
yeah.
like he's like
I'm okay with
Yeah.
that because that's an idiot kid mistake. That's an idiot first. That's Batman year one getting stabbed by the hooker you're trying to save because you don't know what is. You know, it's like the stumbling to get good is part of the story. So yeah, that's
and
great. Actually, that's not bad.
My prediction is Norman is gonna play the Tony Stark role in this. Norman, but instead of it being Iron Man later on, you know what I mean? He's going to be the Green Goblin, and it's going to end up turning on him. And his mentor's going to turn on him, you know, basically. But I think it's interesting that Norman knows that he's Spider-Man, you know, and you know, knowing where Norman's going to end up, and you know, I think that's an interesting way to go.
Yeah, I mean, to build on that, I do believe that Norman will still end up being somewhat of a bad guy, whether it be the overall bad guy for the end of season 1 or not, we'll see. But definitely take advantage of Peter's naivete in this by providing him better tech and everything like that to get him on his side, to make him not see the more shady shit that he's doing underneath and everything like that.
See, I feel like they're going to play him pretty altruistic until he gets the Green Goblin juice. And there's going to be a good or morally gray, at least, reason for him to take the Green Goblin stuff, and then that's going to make him switch. I think they're going to play a Roxxon or a Kingpin as the bad guy, and I think Norman's really going to kind of fill that Tony Stark role, not Iron Man role necessarily, but the Tony Stark, I'm feeding you the tech. Now you have the suit that, you know, he says, oh, I need my suit to be flame retardant, you know, when he's fighting the dude. Yeah, so they're going to go through that process. You've got this science-y team to put the thing together. And I think that all those people are going to end up knowing that he's Spider-Man pretty quickly. Like, at least all the science people. Because they're going to end up getting their powers too somehow, which will probably be someone he's got to fight first, and then they'll join his team. Depending upon if this gets a second season or not. You know,
well, it's already renewed for 3. It already has the second season. Third season was just added on.
Okay, well then definitely I think that's what's happened.
So yeah. But yeah, no, definitely is. It's like, okay, at least it's logical that he figured out, not comic book Norman Osborn. Pretty sure he's Spider-Man, but can never get that last piece in. It's like, nope, straight up here.
I think the time that you can make a superhero's close friends and family believe that they're not that superhero is like, that story is hard to fucking make fly nowadays. You could make it where most people don't know who the fuck Peter Parker is, so even if they saw his face, they wouldn't fucking know. Yeah. You know what I mean? But, you know, you could even make it where, you know, he's smart enough to not get caught on camera changing or this or that by just the general public. You could play those stories and make them believable. It's still a hard sell, but your friends and family are going to figure that shit out. Well, so you're going to have to let them. Anybody that you're close to.
Spider-Man 2 was the best example of that, and will still probably always be the best example of that. I mean,
when he loses his mask,
when he saves the people on the train, loses his mask,
like,
and
a kid.
Yeah, so he's just a kid, but like nobody fucking knows who this kid is.
And that's almost stolen from a comic. Yeah. There's a couple of comics where Peter Parker in the comic never went out without his mask. He even had a bat. He would lose his mask to do it back. So many comic fans got mad. But when people would find out who he was, that was the first line they would always say. He's a kid. Like it was like a shock to them that they were not even like, whoever this jumping around the building, swinging around, busting everybody has to be somebody who's, you know, in their 20s, 30s, or 40s. And then
you're not going to believe that's a kid.
You
know? Even if you could believe it's a human at all, you know.
Yeah.
So.
And then the Alternate or other example is from DC, the Justice League. I think it was a series where Lex Luthor body switches with the Flash.
Oh yeah, and he's all, "Oh, I finally know who the Flash is," and he goes, "I don't know who this is." He just looks in the mirror and it's I don't know.
I have no idea who this is.
It's Wally West. He's like,
That's right. That's perfect. That is like perfect comedy writing of like, now I can find out who the Flash is. And he looks in the mirror and is like, I don't know who the fuck this is. And it's just like, yeah, like you're not like you don't know every face in the world,
just
man.
like
So
at CSI, exactly. Okay, so let's talk about what's moving forward.
So
First of all, we had a couple of trailers, like you said.
Yeah.
well, they're talking about they got the Avengers Doomsday, which to me sounds terrible, but I know everybody's excited about it. And then
it's not a trailer; it's just the announcement and then supposed leaks that are coming out about what's going to happen, and everything like that. But based upon what happened with Daredevil and Wolverine, take it with a grain of salt more than ever now, because they may have finally figured out a way to start false feeding information to get people hyped up about something that's actually not going to take place. Because
so
I mean we'll see on that.
For me, for that one, and then the other thing would be they keep releasing more stuff for the James Gunn Superman. Again, the James Gunn Superman looks like a lot of fun, but we'll know when we know. Like, that's how I feel about that. It's just like the Batman v Superman was a perfect trailer. Don't mean shit. I'm really glad to see I'm really glad to see the tone of Superman being more fun and more
Superman
what Superman probably
more human.
Yeah, more what Superman should be, guys. I don't know how else to word it. Like, you should not be a distant, fuck you, everybody's below me sort of attitude. Like, and he would save his dad from a tornado.
We've been getting more stuff too about the Supergirl movie. Supergirl starts shooting, I think, this summer. It comes out just a year after. The following summer after Superman, and that sounds like they're doing the Woman of Tomorrow. It's going to be very different. You know what I mean? Who's directing that? Someone interesting, I think, is directing that too. Can you look who's?
Joss Whedon.
Can you look and tell me who's
much more
doing this?
She's gonna beat the shit out of everybody.
Directing the Supergirl movie.
There's much more feet in this movie than I thought there was going to be.
Oh, Quentin Tarantino's doing
I watched Squid Game season 2, man. No squids in it whatsoever. Not one. It's got to be like a lost in translation thing.
If you want to see squids, you gotta watch the Watchmen series. Craig Gillespie? I don't know who that is.
Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, right?
I believe
Yeah,
that's
Woman
what
of
it's
Tomorrow.
called, yes.
Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Craig Gillespie, whoever that is.
You gotta have a Greg Gillespie in there.
What did he do? Oh,
He did Cruella de Vil.
yeah, he did Cruella, but he did a couple other things.
He did I, Tonya, or he directed. Well, didn't direct I, Tonya, but he helped produce I, Tonya. No, he did. Oh, he
The
did
only
direct
Tanya thing I've ever seen wasn't her wedding night tape like released in the porn industry.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
was that too.
Forgot about that one.
Lars and the Real Girl.
You have to go back and watch that. Fine cinema.
We do a review of that one.
Yeah, we'll review that one.
Well, anyway, he did stuff.
We did an audio track for
and I know we talked a bit about it.
David Fincher.
I know we talked a bit about it, but that the Daredevil trailer was wonderful, and definitely looking forward to that coming up. And
Yeah,
we
I'm
got
looking for-
2 weeks away from Captain America,
Yep.
right? So
Yep. So Captain America, we will talk about
Captain America,
in 3
I'm a
weeks.
bird.
in 3 weeks from today.
3 weeks from today.
We'll talk about.
the whole Harrison Ford is the Red Hulk shit. Is the oh god, it's like impotence in a bottle. Like, I don't know, I don't like any of it. We'll see. I'll see the movie, but like I'm going in with such a like, this is gonna be just a film.
Hey,
This is gonna. If there's anything great in that movie, I will be shocked as shit. And I went into Wolverine and Deadpool going like, this is probably just going to be, it's going to be Deadpool 2 Part 2. Instead of Cable, it's going to be Wolverine in that role. And it wasn't that at all. It was something completely different, and I was shocked how much I enjoyed it. So let's hope that's what happens with the next Marvel movie.
At least right now, for what they've shown
Because-
of Red Hulk and Marvel's track record of CGI characters over the past 7 years or whatever, for the most part, it looks better than a lot of characters have looked that have gone that route.
That-
Like that. I'm not saying it's going to make the film better or anything like that. I'm just saying the look of it looks better and looks more to the character than a lot of what we have seen. So
I do really like that he looks like Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
I do really
A little
like
bit,
the
yeah,
Hulk
they
face
still
Harrison
kept that,
Ford.
which I like that too. I'm with you on that.
Because he's a manly Hulk.
Yeah. I don't not like super giddy about it. I'm excited simply about it because they have spaced out the Marvel movies. Like we haven't had anything since Deadpool Wolverine, so I'm like, oh,
it's been a minute.
Marvel movie. Like
Yeah.
I got a Marvel movie to go see. You know what I mean? So there's a bit of that excitement, but I'm not super excited about. I don't think I've ever been excited about the Captain America films except for Civil War, and that was because we got the fucking great Spider-Man trailer. You know what I mean? Really, for that movie. But I don't think I've ever been excited to go see a Captain America movie. That being said, most of those Captain America movies have turned out way better than I expected. So
all three of them are pretty solid.
are.
Like the first one was directed by the guy who did Rocketeer, and I think he did
Guardians of the
Goldeneye.
Galaxy, those are the most. That's the most consistent trilogy as being good.
It's all over the map. The second one is a fucking a spy movie, and then the third one is a soft Avengers film. But it works. It works as a soft Avengers film. It works as a spy thriller, and it still works as a comic film.
Ruins most movies, and they always do it in the third one, as they bring in too many people. They mean too many new characters. They brought a shitload of new characters in to Civil War, and it didn't feel convoluted at all.
I think the reason,
Because you want to know why? I honestly think this because we had so much time, so many years of watching Tony Stark and fucking Steve Rogers kind of just bump heads. The first Avengers movie, again, I know Whedon was punching babies in the background, but god damn it, he helped us out so much. So not the babies he punched, but everybody else he did all right with. It's setting up that they did not get along. It didn't matter. Everybody, it was like, dude, I was expecting the next scene to be like Tony Stark with Batman, like, hey, come over to my universe and help me kick Steve Rogers' ass. It's the amount of people they brought in was cool, but it didn't matter because we just wanted to see Cap and Iron Man work it out or fucking end fighting. And I think we were all kind of like, fuck yeah, they ended fighting. Like, it was kind of a nice release because sometimes there isn't a happy ending. Sometimes there isn't a clean workout. Sometimes you need to fucking break a shield and walk the fuck away. And it was kind of cool to kind of see that and that. So yeah. It'd be great to see something like that again. If we got that coming, I'm excited. But I'm going in very low expectations.
and that's how I feel that's how we all should be for.
I remember I paid full price for Doctor Strange 2. I paid full price for Ant-Man 3. I'm going in like nothing.
Yeah.
So
Like I said, I think it's fair. That's how we should all view Marvel films now. Is like, don't go with much expectation. To me, so far the trailers look like it's a mix between high action Marvel and more of the Winter Soldier style thing, but done more as a Manchurian Candidate set up with it, and everything like that. So it's like, okay, that'll be cool as long as the two genres mesh well together for the story that they tell.
Yeah.
Do I expect high things ever? No. Did I enjoy Falcon and the Winter Soldier? I did, but I still, in the pantheon of all the things, I still rate it it's just kind of the most meh
Yeah.
series.
Meh.
It's there and it works for what they were.
Introduced some interesting things into
Yeah.
the Marvel universe that we've not seen hide nor hair of since, though.
It-
you know what I mean?
It basically justifies.
Like that was like 2 fucking years ago.
Sam Wilson. It was
Yeah.
3 years ago now.
Yeah.
4 years ago now. It justifies Sam Wilson
Yeah.
as being Captain America now, which is going to help this characterization in this movie.
Yeah.
But it still requires you to have seen that to get to that point. So, and it is now so far removed because I think it's 4 years now since it's been released.
Yeah, because that was one of the very first
2021
ones.
was the second one right after WandaVision.
And it was supposed to be the first one, though, wasn't it?
It was
I think
originally
so.
supposed to be the first one, and then the pandemic happened, and we had to switch some things around.
Yeah.
So.
And
The pandemic. Remember those days?
Yeah, I remember who was president back.
it was,
shit!
It was. It was also Sam Wilson, non-powered Captain America, like to take that step back. You know what I mean? Like generally, generally you do something more for a character when you get a substitute of some sort. Normally it's like, okay, well now he's coming in and he's got the cool, fucking shield that's like the energy shield now or whatever, like you do something, but now you've got him where he's depowered. He purposefully didn't take it in the other one, so to give it to him now would be weird. So now you've got to have him do more because you've got to kind of step things up for each movie. So you got to have him do more fantastical things, which is less believable because he's not a fucking super soldier now. And it's like, you can't even really shouldn't be able to even do the landings you do in this fucking wings. And why can you rip off the
Venom storyline from Batman? Just rip off like him stealing some of the super soldier stuff and gets hooked on it and then realizes, he doesn't need Teen Wolf. He can beat the basketball team on his own. My computer's about to die, so I gotta hurry this up. All right. Because I didn't plug in my computer.
Good job.
I think that's great.
Good job. The only other thing I expect from this movie is that we'll get a teaser for Fantastic Four.
Okay, yeah, probably.
I'm just saying that I think I could be wrong. They may wait till Thunderbolts, which seems a little late for them to do that, but
I think we get something more solid about the Thunderbolts by the end. That's what. Hopefully, they're leading into the next thing, not something fucking 3 years.
Well, no, I take that back because the Super Bowl premieres before the movie does. So Super Bowl is where they'll drop the first teaser for Fantastic Four, and then it'll run through.
Okay.
It'll run through Captain America.
Okay, well, let's talk about what we're gonna do.
Fucking humans.
I know. Let's talk about what we're gonna do next week before James's computer dies.
I'm gonna disappear.
He's gonna disappear.
No, you'll freeze on screen.
Yeah.
It'll be hilarious.
Let's continue kind of this conversation that we're having about what's coming out, and let's talk about let's pick the 3 things that we're most excited. The 3 either television show, video game,
this year.
or movie that we are in no particular order. We'll each pick the top 3 things that we are looking forward to. We'll talk about those, and then we'll kind of go through the list of the other things that we got coming up, and we'll talk about how we feel about those things.
Yeah.
How's that sound?
Sounds super.
Yeah, I guess, but I don't know. I don't know anything that's coming out this year that I'm particularly excited about.
Well, you've got a week.
I mean, I'm gonna see Superman. I want to see that, and I imagine there's a couple other things out there, but I don't really think there's anything where I've been like, oh man, I can't wait for this.
I'll give you some hints. Last of Us Part 2 comes out this year.
Yeah, baby.
Which one?
Last of Us Part 2. You can't wait.
Comes out this year.
Last of Us. I will totally watch Last of Us. Like that was a fucking shock and a half.
They just announced that the Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein movie is going to premiere Christmas time.
Hey.
Yeah. We'll see.
2.
We'll see.
So we got
Kombat 2 is coming out this year.
Comes out this year.
And
What
Mortal
is?
Kombat 2, where we might have a
Reboot
Mortal
2.
Kombat this time.
Reboot number 2. And then there's that little video game system that's coming out this year.
Yeah, there's something.
That will not have a full trailer done by the time we talk about this thing next week.
We'll
But
see.
yeah.
We'll talk about it.
We lived through the Wii U. We lived through us Nintendo geeks. We lived through a lot of Nintendo missteps. So the Switch is great. I love the Switch.
It's going to just be a fucking Steam Deck for Nintendo.
Probably it's going to be the
And
Switch,
you're
but
saying
better.
that's the bad
But
thing?
I'm not
is
saying
that
it's not-
necessary?
I'm saying
I
that's
don't
the
know.
smartest thing they can do.
Yeah.
If they don't do that, that's bad.
Is it necessary for Nintendo right now? Yes. Well, we could go and talk about
Because they want that
No,
money.
it's not just because we want that money. We can talk about it later. But it is yes for it is better for them right now. But like I said, it's a discussion for another day.
All right, well, let's wrap it up then. Make sure that you like and subscribe to come back next week and the following week so you can see us talk our shit.
And if anything worthwhile happens in Spider-Man, Jay and I will probably bring it up briefly.
Yeah, we'll
for the
probably
next
bring it up.
episode,
So until next week, I'm Smoking Phat J.
I'm Matt Christy.
Oh, James Coe.
All right.
Hey, who the fuck is Mr. Beast?
Oh, you Gen Xer.